What's up, YouTubers? This is your boy Big Metroid Fan 12 coming to you with another video game review. And this time I'm reviewing the game NBA Jam 2010, which was released on the PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, and Nintendo Wii by Electronic Arts. Now, this is pretty much a reboot of the arcade classic of the same name, which was started by Midway, which had a franchise, not only in the arcade but for different home consoles like Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis, stuff like that. And this was released before New Orleans and Charlotte changed their team name, because New Orleans was known as the Hornets, and Charlotte was known as the Bobcats and all that before this when this game came out. And I honestly can say that this is a faithful adaptation of the franchise, and honestly, Electronic Arts did a good job with this game. I pretty much explained why later in the video. Now, there are some differences between the Wii version and the when you compare it to the 360 version and the PS3 version. Like, for example, the when you talk about the Wii version, you can play against some of the NBA legends in the Wii version of NBA Jam, like pretty much Isaiah Thomas, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Dennis Rodman, Manu Bol, Clyde Drexler, you know what I'm saying, Dr. J, Kevin McHale, like Akeem Olajuwon, Defla Shrimp. Some I know who he is, but those who watched the NBA during their like early to mid '90s know who I'm talking about with this particular guy, Spud Webb and James Worthy. Now, the Xbox 360 and PS3 versions pretty much have pretty much an online mode where you can play the different modes in the game when the online mode was available on those consoles and stuff. Now, NBA Jam does have the following modes in it. You know what I'm saying? Play now, game modes, Jam Camp, and the extras. Now, like I said, all the NBA teams are in it. You know what I'm saying? You can pretty much pick your teams and whatever and go at it. Now the this goes into the mode play now, which is pretty much an exhibition mode. You know what I'm saying? You can pick whatever team you want. You know what I'm saying? And pretty much go at it in a 2-on-2 basketball game like the franchise is known for, which and it's pretty much the game is pretty much over the top. No particular rules with exception of like goaltending and stuff like that. Now, then there's the classic campaign. Then that's pretty much under game modes. You have classic campaign, remix tour, remix mode, and boss battle. Now, in the campaign, all you pretty much do is pick one of the teams, one of the NBA teams. You know what I'm saying? And whether it's from the Eastern Conference, Western Conference, and you pretty much have to face the first 5 teams on the list. After you beat them like one by one, you pretty much play against like a earlier roster of a particular team. Like say like you could play, I guess against Chris Mullin and somebody else under Golden State, where you go under the first aspect of the campaign, the first division. Then once you defeat the 5 teams in the legendary team, you go on to the next division, and it repeats itself like 5 more times and all that. And then there's the remix tour and the region. Pretty much you begin in. It really does depend on which team did you pick. Like for example, if you pick the Pistons, you pretty much start in the Central Division, and the team you like face off against has a different game that you different like challenge that you play against. It can be like 21 domination, smash, or whatever the case may be. It really depends on which team that you pick, and you can pretty much unlock all the other regions by beating all the other teams in the various challenges and all that. And then there's the boss battles where you can play against the NBA legends that I mentioned. Whether you can pick either like the Eastern Conference or the Western Conference, you know. Now um, the Jam camp is pretty much the tutorial for anyone who haven't played NBA Jam before, get you used to the controls and all that. And then there's the extras where you have jam challenges, high scores, credits, game control. And with the jam challenge, it just shows you everything that you want to unlock and all that. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's one thing called Grand Slam, Fundamentals, and High Root and all that. Now with the high score, it to just show you all your stats. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's points, scoring, scoring, blocking, shoves, and all that. And pretty much, of course, the credits that show you the team behind this particular NBA Jams game. Now, the control just show you the overall control scheme and all that. Now, with the Wii version, they'll show the Wiimote, the nunchuck setup, and the classic controller. It would have been nice to have to use the GameCube controller, but they opted not to do that. But it's not that big of a deal, you know what I'm saying? Now the graphics and design of NBA Jam 2010 is pretty excellent. They they were pretty much Electronic Arts did a pretty good job with the graphics. Where you're talking about the 360 version, the Wii version, or the PlayStation 3 version. Now the controls is I played the Wii version, and the controls for that are pretty good. You know what I'm saying? But I only use the Wiimote and the nunchuck setup, so it's pretty. So with those two, it's pretty. The gameplay is pretty good. But I can imagine that the 360 version and the PS3 version are also good. You know what I'm saying? It's coming down to which console you have in terms of pretty much personal preference. You know what I'm saying? But I can imagine that the controls for all three versions are pretty good, and the soundtrack is pretty excellent. I mean, and it's like pretty much I like the updated soundtrack to it. You know what I'm saying? I have no like real big complaints about that. And then there's the like not necessarily the sound effects, but the announcer is pretty much very faithful to the previous NBA Jam games. He says like "Boom shakalaka, get that out of here," all that. It's pretty. The announcer is pretty hilarious. You know what I'm saying? I like that. You know what I'm saying. Overall, NBA Jam for the 360, PlayStation 3, and Wii, it's an excellent game. Just too bad it bombed kind of, and didn't sell too well. Had. I wish it had sold like a millions of copies. You know what I'm saying? It could have. EA could have built on this particular game and made it to bring back NBA Jam into into the fray as far as basketball games are concerned. You know. Now, with that being said, I would say that I would definitely give this game pretty much a 9 out of 10. I really have no like really major gripes with the game overall. You know what I'm saying? Pretty good game. You know what I'm saying? I definitely recommend this to anybody who's a fan of the NBA Jam franchise and everything. Even if you haven't played the game before, the franchise before, I still recommend it. Even if you're not necessarily a fan and all that, so I would still recommend it. With that being said, if you like NBA Jam, you know what I'm saying. Even if you have a few gripes with it, you know what I'm saying. Regardless of it, if it's the Wii version or the PS3 version, you can mention that also. Don't forget to click the thumbs up button and don't forget to subscribe. This is your boy Big Metroid Fan 12 signing off.